All right, it's 12:01. We will go ahead and get started. So welcome everyone to our spring 2026 town hall meeting. So we've been trying to do these in more frequency. We did one in the fall. We're doing one now, and we'll probably do one in a few months before we hit the end of the term, just to give everybody some updates on what's been going on. So we are recording this meeting. So after the fact, we'll be able to share it out. So if someone who wanted to attend wasn't able to, this will be their opportunity to, kind of catch up on what's going on. So let's get into it. And hopefully you enjoy those cat gifts. There's no particular reason for that other than I started going down a wormhole and I was like, oh, there's so many of them. So you get to take a gander at a few of those. All right, so a few things we will talk about today. We've got an hour time slot, so we'll get through some of this introductory material pretty quickly so we can get into the meat of why we're here, which is really our South Area Director elections in our candidate spotlight. So we'll do a little few introductions. We'll also touch on just a refresher on our ASSP clear values. It's always good just to kind of hear those periodically, and just a good reminder to integrate them in everything that we do. We'll go through a few regional updates, some news, some happenings within the region, things maybe you should be aware of, things to track. We'll also look at where you need to check out a few ASSP resources, just making the most of your membership at a chapter level, regional level, and at a society level. We'll also touch on how you can get involved, so very briefly. But then we are going to have a little presentation by Dave Crowley. It's going to be something I've been looking forward to. So advancing the ASSP community with safety for nonprofits. So basically ways that safety professionals, ASSP chapters, can get involved with nonprofits, and maybe they don't have a safety person, but they have safety needs. So it's a great way that we can support them in that endeavor. So Dave will tell us some about that. And that's when then we'll get into our South Area Director candidate spotlights. So Lynn and Belinda are both of our candidates, and we will get into some questions we have for them, just give everybody a good idea of who they are, if you've never met them, and what their involvement within the region is, and kind of what their vision is for the role. So both really great candidates. We're super lucky to have them. So that's kind of in a layout of our activities here. I'm seeing a few things popping up in the chat. Let me check out what's going on here. Oh, just saying hello. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so let's do a few introductions, a few hellos. So if you don't know me, I've been sitting here talking this whole time, but there's me. So my name's Abby Holovach. I'm from Fort Worth. Currently our regional vice president. So I've been in the role, this is my first year. So it's been going flying by. And then we've got the rest of our, super powers gal team here. You can see all the ladies of Region 3. Belinda, she's our deputy regional VP as well as our PDC chair. We'll talk about our PDC in a few minutes. Keitha is our North Area Director currently. So that was not Gina, it's Keitha. And then Miss Patricia is our South Area Director. She's a huge asset to the region. And even though she will be phasing out of the South Area Director role come, June, July, she'll definitely still be with us in other capacities, really advancing like our student sections and things like that. So great resource. Then Rachel, she's our VP of Communications. So she works on our LinkedIn, helping send out emails, etc. So Rachel does an amazing job. Jeannie, she's out of Fort Worth. She also supports student affairs, another great wealth of resource and knowledge with just kind of the inner workings of our region, and where our students need support. So if you haven't met Jeannie, definitely a great lady to know. Jennifer, she is over our IDEA program, so inclusivity, diversity, equity, accessibility. So really just looking ways that we can ensure we're really making ASSP a fun and valuable place, an open place for everybody to be. So we all get the most out of it. So really appreciate Jennifer too. And then not to discount our fellas. So these guys are definitely rocks within the region as well. So Mr. Stan, he is our VP of professional development. He also does a lot with our student chapters. He's, the heart of a lot of our golf tournaments. So Stan is another great resource that we have on our team. Dustin, he's out of Gulf Coast, so he's our government affairs, and he knows so much. He's been a very helpful resource, kind of liaison between what's going on at ASSP at a society level and then bringing that back down to us as a region. And then Jaron recently stepped in as our treasurer. So Jaron's an amazing financial whiz. So definitely been leaning on him for a lot. We're working on a lot of great things with Jaron for Region 3 in terms of our financials. And then Jeffrey here is amazing PDC co-chair, so working with Belinda on our PDC. So I'm sure a lot of you, if you've been to our conferences, then you know who Jeff is. And then last but not least, Mr. Lynn, Awards and Honors, Chapters Affairs. So Lynn has been with the region for a long time, supported us through a lot. So again, you'll hear from both Lynn and Belinda in just a little bit, both amazing candidates. So thank you to Lynn too. If you're not familiar with our North area and South area chapters, this just kind of gives you an overview of what we've got going on. So under Keitha, Arkansas, East Texas, Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, South Plains, and Southwest Tulsa chapters. And if you don't know, Southwest is basically like the Dallas chapter. It's a mystery to me why it's named that, but it's the Dallas chapter. And then our South area chapters under Patricia, which this is going to be the new open role, the South area director. We've got Central Texas, Coastal Bend, Gulf Coast, Permian Basin, Sabine Neches, and South Texas. So we have got a lot going on across 3 states. You can kind of see a visual here where we've got Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and the red line shows the split between North area and our South area. So basically, wherever you're located or someone you know may be located, there's always ways for them to get involved. We've got a lot going on. So no matter what capacity you may want to volunteer, we've got a spot for you, whether it's at a chapter level or a regional level. All right, so let's touch on our clear values. So this is at the heart of everything we do in ASSP and in our professional life. So just want to kind of, refresh it with everybody's memory. So this is our strategic plan at a society level, 2023 to 2028. So our mission, and I'm just going to read it out for you, we're the community that protects people, property, and the environment. So that's like our slogan. Our mission reflects our role as the guardians of workplace safety, and our ultimate goal is to have all workers return home to their loved ones safe, healthy, and well each day. So ultimately, that's at the heart of everything we do and why we're all safety professionals. So our vision at a society level, safety, health, and well-being are inherent rights of every worker. Our vision is an ideal to which we aspire, recognizing that this work requires collaboration with regulatory bodies, businesses, and non-governmental organizations, as well as our community of safety and health professionals. So we all play a really important role no matter what our capacity is within ASSP and how we fit into this strategic plan. But of course, these same missions, these same visions drive us in our everyday lives and how we, what we do in our work. So our clear values, of course, these guide our behavior, our decisions, our actions. So these are all things, again, that we make at our core of not only our ASSP activities, but also within our profession. So community, which is what we're doing now. We're having a town hall. We're aiming to provide a welcoming, collaborative environment for all. That's why we have like Jennifer and trying to develop the IDEA program. Leadership, we exemplify integrity and empower others. So finding ways to pull in new leaders and supporting our current leaders. Excellence, always striving to deliver our best. Of course, accountability, focusing on ethics, reliability, trustworthiness, which that's a huge pillar of what makes a good safety professional. And then last but definitely not least is respect. So acting with humility, listening to each other, and really finding ways to foster strong relationships and build each other up. That's so important in what we do because it's easy for all of us to get burned out, exhausted, beaten down. So by having this safety net outside of our workplace, a lot of times can make a huge difference. So these values, like we said, really drive everything that we do. All right, so quick clip. I feel like it's a good reminder about just kindness in general and how we treat each other because, we're in a tumultuous time. We know this. There's something new crazy every day on the news. Like you couldn't gamble and try to pick what they're going to say next. So, I think it's all the more important how we treat each other, how we view each other, and how we view ourselves. So we'll watch this quick clip.
Acts of kindness, acts of generosity is how simple it is to make people feel good. I was walking down the streets of New York City, and a guy walking in front of me, his backpack opened and a bunch of paper fell out on the street. I didn't think much of it. I bent down, I gathered up the papers, handed them back to him, and pointed out that his bag had opened. Now, in our bodies, there's a chemical called oxytocin. Oxytocin is responsible for all the warm and fuzzies, unicorns and rainbows. It's responsible for all the warm feelings and connectedness we have with each other. Friendship, love. Huge amounts of oxytocin surge through a woman's body as she gives birth. This is what is responsible for the mother-child bond. Oxytocin binds human beings. There are many ways to get oxytocin. One of them is acts of kindness and acts of generosity. It feels good when we do something nice for someone. It feels good when someone does something nice for us. On this particular day, I did something for someone with no expectation of anything in return. I got a little surge of oxytocin. I felt good. He turned to me and he said, "Thank you. It feels nice when someone does something for us with no expectation of anything in return." He felt good. I walked to the end of the street. I'm waiting to cross the street. And a total stranger who happened to be standing next to me said, "I saw what you did back there. That was really cool." As it turns out, witnessing an act of generosity releases oxytocin, and he felt good. And the best part about oxytocin is the more oxytocin we have in our bodies, the more generous we become. It is Mother Nature's way of trying desperately to get us to look after each other. I can guarantee you that that man who witnessed what I did something nice for somebody that day simply because he saw someone do something nice for somebody that day. So what if we commit to do something nice for someone with no expectation of anything in return? Imagine what happens at work. Imagine what happens at home. Imagine what happens with our friends. But it must be genuine.
Yeah, right. So I think that's a good message, no matter where we're at, work, ASSP, regular life. So I guess that'd be, our challenge to ourselves and to others is just finding more ways to exhibit that kindness, get that oxytocin going in ourselves and in others, and it's only going to strengthen our communities and really what we're trying to do as a whole in the safety profession. So all right, on that uplifting note, and Jeff texted me and said, "You look so serious," because I was watching that with like this intensive stare. And then I started smiling. I was like, "Yep, turn that frown upside down." There you go. All right, so let's cover a few updates and news. So obviously, one reason why we're here is for the upcoming elections. Come March, which is just around the corner, it's just next week, you'll start getting an electronic voting ballot for these society level and regional level elections. So keep your eyes out for that. If you don't get it, you may want to reach out on ASSP's website just for, some technical support and figure out why. Maybe there's an issue with your email in the system. But in just a few minutes, obviously, we will do our candidate spotlight and allow both Lynn and Belinda some time to kind of talk about themselves and their vision. You can also read about them and their platform statement if you go to ASSP.org/membership/elections, which is on the screen. You can click on their names and read some of the information that they submitted. So highly encourage you to do that. Plus, there's all these other positions you'll have the opportunity to vote on. So you can do the same thing. Get in there, read a little bit about them, and make your decision based off that. So keep your eyes out for that. We do have two new committees, which if you were on our most recent webinar, you've heard some of this, but we do have a new Region 3 Financial Committee. Don't look too closely at these graphics. These were made with AI. There's like very strange shapes and malformed objects. But nevertheless, our Region 3 Financial Committee, we're really coming together with there's like 5 or 6 of us. And again, we're always open to more people if you want to volunteer. But we're coming up with things like standardized budgets, really support for our chapter and regional treasurers, just trying to help our chapters get a lock on their financials, which is just going to benefit the chapter and region as a whole, of course. We also started a new student leadership committee. So we've got a group of us. And again, feel free to join in, shoot me a message. We'd be happy to have you join. But we're planning for spring 2027. So we're gearing up now. We're trying to get information like, feedback from the student chapters and the student sections where we should plan it, where we should have it, what kind of activities they want to see. So all of it's in the works. Again, more opportunity. If you do want to volunteer, we'd love to have you. So just let me know. We're also accepting award nominations, which Lynn, correct me if I'm wrong, you said April 1st, right, is when these are due?
15th.
April 15th. See, I was wrong.
Tax day. I made it easy. Tax day.
Perfect. Okay, tax day, award day. There you go. Thank you, Lynn. So we're looking for nominations specifically for Safety Professional of the Year and Hall of Fame. We are still developing the Educator of the Year award selection process, but if you know someone who might be a good fit for that, we'll be able to figure something out. You just email us and let us know. But there are actual nomination forms for the Safety Professional of the Year and the Hall of Fame, along with the criteria for each one. That's all going to be listed in there. So definitely check out our website. It's also listed on our Region 3 page. You should be able to access those applications from there as well. So nominate yourself or you can nominate someone else. Totally up to you. I nominate myself for awards all the time. Our next upcoming webinar is in March. So we did just recently do one in February. That was about dangerous goods. So that was a really cool presentation. And now we've got another one coming up about ethics. So Dr. Bob Emery, again, it'll be another Zoom presentation. We will be offering CEUs. So you can get on our website and get registered for that as well. We are still accepting speakers for our Region 3 Professional Development Conference. So this is coming up in September, so still some ways off, but we are coming up on the deadline for submissions. Suzanne, if you're on here, or Jeff Koslow, what's our, for speakers for the PDC, what's that situation? Remind me again the cutoff date.
Hey, Abby, we've got our keynotes selected. We have not notified them yet. So as of now, the only thing we have left is that we're looking to fill some breakouts. We extended that through, I believe it was the 10th of March. We're
Okay.
hoping to have it filled up by then. And if we need to extend a little bit more, we can. But the quicker we can announce who's speaking and get a schedule out, the better we are.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, yep. Please apply. If you know someone who might be a good speaker, I encourage them to apply. It's going to be super cool. We're at SeaWorld. We'll literally be like by dolphins swimming around, which were like super cool when I went. The aquariums with all like the sharks and just all sorts of cool stuff. It's going to be super sweet. We got some really good socials planned as well after hours. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Very interesting, different venue than anything we've tried before. So appreciate Belinda for really getting that ball rolling and getting us in there. So yeah, please apply. If you also are interested, maybe your company wants to be an exhibitor. We're also still looking for sponsors. Get on our website, on our Region 3 PDC page. You can access it from our main Region 3 page and take a gander, reach out if you got questions. Okay, so touching on a few ASSP resources, just a few things you don't want to sleep on. You want to make sure that you're actually getting in there, checking it out, and you're not missing out on something that could be valuable for you. Definitely get into your ASSP account and make sure your information is current. So this goes for chapter leaders as well. If there's any of you on here who haven't yet done this, because this is what's actually going to show up anything ASSP related. Whether it's on a chapter website or communications from the society level, the email you have in here, the picture, the title, where you work, etc. Make sure all that's current, because otherwise you might miss something that gets sent out or there's incorrect information about you floating around out there within the system. So just log in your own account and get that current and updated. We've also been trying to do some updates to our Region 3 page, just adding more and more events, more and more opportunities for those CEUs. Like somebody said in the comments, Ed, gotta love those CEUs, indeed. So there's a lot of opportunity for those. And there's just been more and more webinars, which, some people love them, some people hate them. But wherever you fall, it is a good way to get a CEU if you need it. So check out our page under events. You can see a screenshot of our chapter events and a calendar. You can click on those and it'll open up directly to that registration page. There's also our Region 3 events page under that same tab. And we're also developing with the chapter webmaster support to continue to add other webinars to our events page. So from some of like the special interest groups, different committees, different chapters, and things like that. So there's also a lot of news we put on here. So if you haven't checked out our website in a while, get in there and check it out. There's some good stuff. We are keeping it current and active. And then if you're not connected with us on LinkedIn, which I'm sure you are, just because that's probably how a lot of you found out about this, plus the emails that were sent out. But connect with us online on LinkedIn so you can stay up to date and current on not only our activities, but also the chapter. So if you're looking to get involved, if you want to in any capacity, whether you want to actually, run for a local position, maybe you want to volunteer for an appointed position, or, could be at the local level, regional level, whatever it may be, please let us know. Reach out. Now's the time, because this is like our election season. Same for, the elections going on in the real world. So if you're interested, now's the time to approach, whether it's chapter leadership or come to one of us at the regional level. Just let us know what capacity you're interested in supporting. It doesn't have to be anything extensive. there's a lot of opportunity there. So now's the time, step forward, but then also just be sure to be paying attention to those links where we will be voting society level and the regional level. And then you also, in the next 2 months or so, should also be getting an elections ballot of sorts, an electronic ballot via email for your chapters too. So there's actually going to be two separate types of elections. So keep that in mind and keep your eyes out for that. All right. Oh, we already covered that, how we can get involved. I actually meant to have that before Dave. Okay, Dave, I'm going to stop sharing before we continue, and I'm going to let you take over.
Okay, here we go. Should be showing now.
Yes, we can see.
Great. So, Abby, thank you very much for the opportunity to address the folks attending the town hall today. As indicated, this is an oxytocin opportunity, maybe, from a volunteerism standpoint. We're going to talk about advancing your community with safety for nonprofits. I know that Ed Zimmer's on the call, and Ed, I know you're familiar with the organization. Pretty much a situation where Safety for Nonprofits was established just before the pandemic in 2020. A couple of guys sitting around, safety folks talking at a kitchen table, believe it or not. And, many of us were getting ready to retire. And the brainchild idea came out to develop a nonprofit that focuses on servicing other nonprofits, providing pro bono, free safety advisory services. So that inception from idea took a couple of years before we got things really rolling, but we're really cooking now. Things are going really well. As far as the content is concerned, there might be some questions that are asked out there. Would you like your chapter to take advantage of comp points to have a community-based activity? Are there any certificates out there that are looking for CEUs? I heard the CEU word earlier on the call. Would you like to build some camaraderie for volunteering with local safety professionals? As indicated, I think, Abby had talked about that as part of the mission and vision for ASSP overall. Pretty much a situation where Safety for Nonprofits, abbreviated S4NP, gives you the framework to use your skills as a safety professional, as a volunteer, to help nonprofits. How can we further advance this whole concept? We ended up forging a partnership with ASSP, which is a great thing, and they encourage us to participate in town halls and rock meetings to help get the message out. And that's something that's been underway for over a year. We just recently renewed our agreement with ASSP, and we are very appreciative of the society. It fits into the category of trusted advisor. Maybe you've heard of that. That's part of the mission, is to promote safety professionals that are ASSP members as trusted advisors to help others, whether it be employers or, in this case, nonprofits. There is one death per week, according to the BLS statistics that are out there, in the nonprofit arena. It either is an employee of a nonprofit that is fatally injured or a volunteer. Check out these numbers. 13 million employees in the United States for nonprofits, and 60 million volunteers. Many of you that are on the call today probably volunteer one way or another, whether it be a church or a theater or a humane society or whatnot. These unfortunate incidents can be avoided by enabling workplace safety. But the key thing to understand, nonprofits don't have a lot of money, and they don't necessarily put a lot of stock in workplace safety. They have needs, oftentimes unrealized. This is where we come in as safety professionals, we can make a difference. We can help others and get that Simon Sinek feel good type situation. We have many stories that we've developed in the time that Safety for Nonprofits has been in place. There's, certainly incidents that have occurred in different examples. This one is a clothing bank, and there was an individual that unfortunately succumbed to an injury as a result of an activity at the building where the clothing bank was. Very unfortunate. So, this is just another example of many that are out there where Safety for Nonprofit volunteers can help out. We basically advocate for safety at nonprofits. We train our volunteers and identify how we go about providing these pro bono advisory services, whether it be boots on the ground, actually at a nonprofit, or virtual. And again, it positions our safety professionals as trusted advisors that are out there. We have many customers or clients that are out there that we've helped out. This one is just one example of many that are out there. The organization is one that takes in used medical equipment that is donated to them at no cost. They update it and they ship it out to underprivileged countries so that they can be used. We had somebody that was volunteering there that was a safety professional. They heard about Safety for Nonprofits. They revealed that they had no forklift training, zero documentation for their volunteers. So we did a risk review with them. We delivered forklift training. And much like our activities, if you're a forklift trainer yourself out there, you never know if you've prevented an incident, but you hope that you've enabled workplace safety in the efforts that you have. Other examples, we have done work at community theaters. I'm working on a project with the community theater in Indiana through Purdue University right now with students that are at Purdue. But again, it begins with really a risk assessment. What are the needs? And in a community theater standpoint, there's a lot of construction activity. There's ladder safety, things such as that. And of course, fire prevention is key. These are the types of services that we've offered out there. To date, we have over 300 volunteers, and we're present in 28 states, meaning the people that have signed up as volunteers reside in those areas. Oh, wait a minute. What do I see? I see Texas is green, but Oklahoma and Arkansas, there's opportunities there. That could be your opportunity right here. Overall, Holly had given me 10 minutes to talk about Safety for Nonprofits. Beyond safety professionals participating with Safety for Nonprofits, we also have a great opportunity for students. Students that are in school right now, whether it be bachelor's, master's, you name it, there are opportunities. We have existing activities taking place right now. I indicated I'm working with Purdue University, two separate groups of students to conduct work that will be part of their capstone project before they graduate. These types of opportunities are great, and it's a strong connection with the students in the chapter level if your chapter does have a student group. We do also encourage internships if there are students that are interested or have a need for an internship. Unfortunately, it would be unpaid, but we do have internship opportunities with Safety for Nonprofits. So any questions at all, you see the email info there. Abby will be able to circulate these slides subsequent to today's call. So our call to action, and I'm probably close to my 10-minute mark here, consider supporting a local nonprofit. Again, you can get your chapter some comp points, identify nonprofits, maybe where you're already volunteering, or it could be that it's an opportunity for a couple of chapter members to get together and support a local nonprofit. We do have what we call a go, no-go process. Understand, I've used the word safety. I've not used industrial hygiene or anything like that. We don't get involved in things such as OSHA inspections. We don't get involved in asbestos abatement or asbestos surveys and things such as that. It's really pure safety overall, using the skills that you already have: training, risk assessment, job safety analysis, things such as that. We do have a virtual program. Don't want to lose sight of that. If you're distant and unable to participate in a group activity, we do encourage the virtual connection. The last point that I'll emphasize is that Safety for Nonprofits offers insurance coverage to all of our volunteers. This is very important. Typically, if you volunteer at a nonprofit or any other location, they typically have you sign a waiver, and it usually has the words "hold harmless" in it. You might think that your homeowner's insurance will cover you if anything happens, but that is not the case. Safety for Nonprofits covers all of our volunteers with professional liability insurance in the event there's any sort of a mishap that occurs. Of course, that nonprofit is not going to support you or help you as far as that goes. So we're on LinkedIn. Please join us. Check out the website. We get a lot of great stuff, and consider signing up as a volunteer with Safety for Nonprofits. If your chapter would like to have a presentation similar to what I'm delivering today, let me know, hook me up, send an email to info@safetyfornonprofits.org, and we'd be glad to provide you with a webinar to introduce the concept of Safety for Nonprofits to your chapter. There we go. Holly, how'd I do with the minutes?
Yeah, we are on point. We are ready to rock and roll. I really appreciate that. And we'll definitely share this out with the chapters. And so that way, like we said, people want to take advantage of this. I think there will be a lot of interest. People are always looking for other opportunities, ways their chapters can get involved with things outside of just a social or a technical meeting. So we really appreciate that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Excellent.
All right. So let me get back down to our candidate spotlight. All right, everybody see my screen okay? Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right. The moment we've been waiting for, hear from our two amazing candidates, so Lynn Richardson and Belinda Powers. So we've got 5 different questions. We sent them to each of them ahead of time, just so that they could have some time to ponder and prepare. And this isn't, I didn't even want to use the word debate. That's not what this is. There's nothing really to debate on. We all have the same, really intentions and where our heart's at. But of course, everybody has different perspectives, different visions. So that's really the goal. So 5 questions to really get a feel for who they are and what their goals and visions are if they were to be the new South Area Director. So we'll start with the first one. And Lynn, do you want to go first since you're the first one on that photo? That works
Well,
for
I
you.
guess I can do that.
Okay, we'll let you go first on this one, then Belinda, we'll let you follow up. So just tell us a little bit about you and your background in ASSP.
All right. So I'm the different safety guy. I have an undergraduate degree in chemical engineering with a master's in safety, security, and emergency management. I've spent half my life in refineries and half in chemical plants. So I'll tell my age now because I got into safety when the first HAZCOM standards came out. So yeah, I'm one of the oldies but goodies. I think Stan and I are the ones that compete for who's the oldest ones in the group. But I do a broad spectrum of safety. So I'm a generalist. I've managed process safety, occupational safety, industrial hygiene. I've done auditing, DOT, Homeland Security, site security, and environmental even. So I love what I'm doing, and that's the reason I'm still doing it. So I became a member of ASSE in 1984. Of course, we're ASSP now. But during my career, I've actually been in Region 2, Region 3, Region 4, Region 5, and then Region 7. So I've been all across the country. I've seen the way things are done in different areas. Um, I wasn't able to get real involved in ASSP until I got to Sioux City, Iowa. When I got there, they had a section which was part of the Omaha chapter. So in that section, I went in, and the first thing I got to do is find speakers. So my first job in a group was finding all the speakers, and that was a fun thing to do. We had a broad spectrum of people in that section, and so we had about 25 to 30. We were 90 plus miles away from the chapter, so we were fortunate that we could have a section. From that, was the section leader for a couple of years before I moved to Memphis, Tennessee. And so there, I came in and I was the secretary for that chapter. And we had a disaster there. So the president and vice president of the chapter both got transferred. And that chapter, we were in trouble. So a group of us got together and said, no, we're not going to let the Southwest Tennessee chapter fall into disarray. So we got together and said, we'll do 2 years at a time. So for the next 2 years, I was the VP of that chapter, and then I was the president for 2 years. Unfortunately, I didn't get to be the past president because I moved out here to Texas. And so the first few years here, I wasn't able to get real involved because I worked in Big Spring, and that was an hour drive. And the boss wouldn't let me spend an hour driving, an hour away, and an hour coming back to go to the meeting. So in 2018, I was really fortunate that I decided I needed to make a change and got a job in Midland. So I became active in the Permian Basin chapter. And if you've ever met Keitha, you'll know Keitha is not shy. So her vice president just abruptly resigned, and she called me up and said, would you step in? And I said, yes. So I stepped into that role and then became the president for 2 years during COVID. I was the Permian Basin president for the COVID years. And believe me, that means I had to think outside the box. We set everything up to do virtual meetings, and we would have 10 to 20 people on the virtual meetings. Before COVID, we had about 25 to 30 at the in-person meetings. But then, like every other chapter, we had trouble getting people to come back after COVID. So, um, we've done that. In the middle of all that, I was asked if I would serve on the Honors and Awards Committee, and I said yes. And so I was one of the committee members, and then the chairman of that had to step down, so they asked if I would take it. Uh, by then, Jim had graduated and Matt had taken over, and Matt got me to be the VP of Chapter and Member Services, and that all tied in because that was all together with it. So I got really involved with that, and then the PDCs, and uh, the fun part of my job is the honors and awards part of the lunching on the Monday of our PDC because I get to be the one that makes all the honors and awards presentations. And it's a fun thing to do because you get to know the people that you're talking about. And so I'm part of the Society Advisory Group. I've spent 3 years doing that. And so I'm involved with a lot of things with that. We're trying to get an Educator of the Year set up and a Student Leader of the Year set up. And we're working on those things right now. And so I hit my 40 years in ASSP, and the highlight of my being with Region 3 was I got elected to the Hall of Fame 2 years ago. So that's a kind of my story of ASSP across all of the different areas I've been in.
Very nice. Thank you, Lynn. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate that a lot. You got a lot of experience, that's for sure. All right, Miss Belinda, and we've only got about a little less than 20 minutes. So everybody will try to keep our answers to like 2-3 minutes if we can. Belinda, you want to give us a little spiel about yourself and your background?
Well, I'll be completely honest with you. While Lynn was with ASSE back in 1984, I was probably one of the reasons why we now have much safer playground equipment. So my jaunt into safety started in 1995. I was an auto body rebuild mechanic in the Marine Corps and just checked into my first duty station, and they said, guess what? You're our safety person. As I like to say, I was voluntold, and I learned really quick that safety and the Marines don't always go hand in hand, but at the same point in time, they were trying. And so helping them build a program, especially environmental, because the state of North Carolina started charging them something like, about $20,000 per soda can that was found in the landfill, and just crazy stuff like that. So once you do a task like that in the Marines, every time you move duty stations, are like, oh, you're already a trained safety person. Guess what? You're going to be our safety person too. So you keep that role. So 9.5 years in, I got a little bit hard-headed and decided, nope, I don't want to do anything I've ever done while in the Marine Corps. And so, to be quite honest, I became a high school math teacher. And funny thing is, my very last campus, I was also their compliance director for a particular program to keep them compliance globally with various regulations, and their safety campus person. And so I realized really quick that as much as I loved working with the kids, I missed regulations, health, and safety. And so went back in and made another turn and joined oil and gas for safety and compliance. From there, unfortunately, when COVID hit, my company dissolved about half the positions, and so took the time to go get my master's degree in environmental health and safety, earned my CSP, and then started working at a chemical manufacturing and supply company. And I currently am with a medical manufacturing company. So a few different industries there. And I will tell you that my time with ASSP, shortly after earning my CSP, I decided I was going to do everything humanly possible, never to have to take that test again. So I was going to ensure I got all my points every 5 years, and joined ASSP the very next day. A few weeks later, went to my first meeting. Jennifer Sue was the chapter president, and to be honest, she pretty much ran the entire thing and ran around like a chicken with her head cut off. And so the next meeting, I became the event coordinator, and then a few months later, I became the president elect, and then from there went under Jennifer's wing and became the chapter president for the Central Texas chapter. And then our president elect did have to step down, and so took on a second term. I'm also the deputy RVP for Region 3 and step in whenever Abby needs some help, as well as helping juggle the team for our San Antonio PDC with the help of Abby and Jeff and a bunch of amazing individuals. So.
Beautiful. Thank you, Belinda. I appreciate that. That was good. Next question we got for you guys. So, Lynn, what inspired you to run for Region 3 South Area Director, and what unique perspectives would you bring to the role?
Okay, so um, I've had a lot of experience across a bunch of regions, seeing how a bunch of chapters ran, been involved with the salvage of a couple of chapters to keep them from being sunsetted. And I think the experience that I've gained across all of these areas that I've been in would be a great help for being the South Area Director. I've been also involved in a number of trade organizations like the American Fuels and Petrochemical Manufacturers Association and the American Petroleum Institute, the API. So I've been involved with some of the other trade organizations and see how they work too. So between all of those, I think I can bring all of that experience together to work on that. I don't have all the answers, but I will certainly try to get them and then make sure that I can get them out to the chapters that need them.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Belinda, what about you?
I'm going to piggyback off of Lynn's answer there. Again, even though, I'm a safety professional going on 20 years, I don't have all the answers. That's one thing I love about ASSP. And when I did have to, when I was a new chapter president, there were times I did have to reach out to the South Area Director for some help and guidance and stuff like that. And as I transition away from a chapter president, I would still like to be involved with the region and supporting other chapter presidents when they're in their first year or maybe their second year and they're starting to feel the burnout kind of thing. If they unfortunately are doing 2 terms back to back or such, but just helping to be the person there to direct where we need to go and to bring the chapters within that area together.
That's awesome. Thank you. All right. Third question, Mr. Lynn. If elected, what would be your top priorities or priority for supporting chapters and members in the South area?
Well, I think we're all having trouble with succession planning. And that's going to be one of the things that we have to look at, and how can we get that problem under control. So when you see all the rock reports that come in and everybody's talking about they don't have enough people to fill the slots, they don't have enough people to fill the elected positions, much less ones we appoint. So we got to find a way to get all the people that are members in the chapter involved in some way. Now, there are chapters that are huge, like Permian Basin, that's not going to happen because the far end of the Permian Basin chapter is El Paso, and it's 5 hours. So there's no way those people can get to Midland, you know, to have a way to, interact unless we broadcast it. And we talked about how to do that. And so we need to find a way to get people to be willing to be involved and put those people in places, even if we have to create a job for them for something they want to do, but we don't have a job. So we need to find that way. Now, the other thing is we got to get people talking to each other. And that would be one of my goals is to try to get the chapters talking to each other. And again, one of my priorities in this is one that's dear and dear to my heart. I worked for about 4 years now trying to get El Paso back to being, where we can get them back as a chapter. And so we're about to get to the point we can start moving in that direction. And so that's one of my goals is to try to get them back so they can be in chapter and they can support the people out in the far west area of Texas as well as northern Mexico, because there's a few people even in ASSP in northern Mexico. So,
Yeah, great points. What about you, Belinda?
One of my top priorities in supporting the chapters would be more time for the chapters to get together and communicate amongst each other. The rock meetings are great, don't get me wrong, but at the end, when you're listening to the 14th chapter give the same presentation, you kind of are starting to check out. And so being able to go as a group and work on that together, either monthly or quarterly as we get ready for the rock, and then for the area to present, this is us as a whole, because we've been having those conversations regularly. That would be really my number one top priority.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And we'll let you answer this one first, Belinda, since you've gone second the first 3 times. How do you envision strengthening engagement and collaboration across Region 3, especially between chapters, students, and emerging professionals?
Again, strengthening the communication between the chapters would be the number one priority. Again, bringing the area chapters together more often to talk, Teams meetings, Zoom calls, whatever. But to have those conversations early on so that the rock meeting becomes more of a strategic, let's plan, let's do activities, etc. With that, with also the students and emerging professionals, very much helping to strengthen the mentorship groups within our area. So we might have professionals that could help out from other chapters and areas. For instance, we do have a school that is very much struggling to even keep their chapter section engaged, but in working amongst the area there, other people might have already dealt with that, or their student leaders are having some similar issues, and just really bringing them together and then having meetings quarterly where students, emergent professionals, as well as the leadership from the region and past leaders are all on there to make connections and have virtual happy hours.
Awesome. What about you, Lynn?
all right. So I think I'm going to piggyback off of some of what Belinda said because it's some of the things that I think we need to do as well. One of the things I really think we need is to get the stronger chapters to be willing to help with the chapters that are struggling, because the chapters that have it all, and I don't want to say all, have most of it in hand, are the ones we need to be trying to look at to see how we can strengthen the struggling chapters. So, I'm going back to our common problem is to have the people to fill our slots. We can't just volunteer people to take those positions because if you volunteer somebody, then they may say, okay, but then they check out. And we're no better off because we just not got a name in that slot and we don't have somebody that's willing to do the work. We have somebody that wants the name, but not willing to do the work to get that done. And the thing we need to make sure that we work with our ASSP student members to get them to want to become full-fledged ASSP members once they graduate. That's how we perpetuate ASSP is to get our students to become members, to help recruit members and to move that forward. And the other thing is we need to make sure we're getting topics that appeal to our membership and go all the way across that broad spectrum of student and emerging professional, and all of those so that we don't have topics that maybe are way above them that just, they check out because they don't understand what's being said. But rather we need to, and then on the other hand, we don't need to have topics that people that are experienced professionals going to say, why do I even want to go? So we need to balance out how we are doing our speakers and things like that. But and then the last thing is we've got to be welcoming. We need to be where we have somebody that welcomes people as they come in the door and thank them for coming and make sure we get a name and an email address and all of that's good stuff so we can follow up with them so that we have that way of strengthening our chapters. And the last thing I would say is that, like Belinda, I want to interact with all the different groups in the South area so that we have a way of talking together about our problems and working to collectively solve them.
Yep, great points. Last but not least, final question here. Belinda will let you finish it off, and then Lynn, you'll tie us up here. We're 12:59, so we're hitting the final mark. What's one goal or initiative that you'd like to accomplish during your term that might leave a lasting impact on the region?
Again, I mentioned it before. It's really the area chapters working together on their presentation prior to the rock to give it the rock so that the rock time is better spent with rock business and not so much the chapter updates.
Yeah, good point. What about you, Lynn?
And I hate to sound like the broken record, but succession planning is just dear and dear to my heart because I've been through it personally in the chapters and seen what happens if we don't do our succession planning the right way. And I'm really not a tatty. I just noticed I'm talking with my hands. So, but but I really want to get a handle on that as much as we can and help the chapters with their succession planning. And then just briefly, I really want to get that section chapter in El Paso and get them striving to come back and be the chapter they used to be before they got sunsetted.
That's awesome. Yep. Both, I mean, all great answers from both you guys. And that's why I say we have such strong candidates. Good luck picking one because both of you guys are awesome. I really appreciate the detail and the time that you took to prepare for this and all the thought that you guys put in. Obviously, you both have the Region Three's best interest in mind, so I really appreciate that. All right, folks. So you should get that digital ballot within the next couple weeks here. So keep your eyes out for that. And again, if you want to step up, you want to volunteer, please just let us know. And then last but not least, I know we're up against our time here, but if anyone has anything that they'd like to throw out there, feedback, input, ideas, here's the floor is yours at this moment in time before we end the call.
Hello, everyone. No major ideas or things, but I'm serving in the role now. And of course, I'm going to be heading out because I've done my term and I did another term. So I think I finished someone's term the first time and now
Yeah.
I'm in my actual term, right?
Yep.
So it's a very busy role, and but I think you both are great leaders that you can be able to garner, the support and present the support that these chapters need. So I say it's a great job. So while you guys who are on the phone or you're listening to the recording are thinking about voting, make sure you vote with that in mind. That it is it's expansive area, right? It's not just supporting one chapter, you're supporting 6 chapters, right? So a lot is going on, a lot to follow up on, but I think these two candidates are definitely capable. So good luck to both of you. I enjoyed listening to your answers, and I support you both. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. But like we
You're
said,
welcome.
she may be stepping out of that role, but she's not getting away from us. So we still got you, Patricia.
Yeah,
We
I'm
need
like, I'm stepping
to,
out because my term is ending, but yeah, if I could stay in, I would. But nope, you got 2 people here that are excellent. So
yeah, that's right. That's right. But we're gonna use you in other capacities, so don't you worry. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you guys for getting on, staying on, listening. We really appreciate it. Like I said, we'll post this and share it with whoever, maybe wanted to attend and couldn't. But thank you guys so much. Reach out if you need anything, but we really appreciate everybody's involvement and have a great weekend.